Pastor Chira Show. I'm Pastor Chira, and today we launch. We launch into new mindsets. We launch into new territory. We launch into new relationships. Are you ready to launch out? Come on and launch out with me as we go into this conversation on today. And I am so excited because this is definitely a new relationship. Yes, she don't know yet. She don't know it yet. But this is a relationship that's going to continue because she is an amazing woman and she has so much to offer, not just her local community, but she has so much to offer the world. And I am so excited that she has said yes to come and sit down and talk with me on the Pastor Chira Show. Y'all want to know who I'm talking about, don't y'all? Y'all want to know? I'm going to tell you, I'm talking about none other than Pastor Voretta Allen-Nesby. Hi, lady.
Hi there.
How are you?
I am wonderful. For Monday, I am amazing.
You look amazing.
Thank you so much. They tell me, say, you don't look like what you've been through. Hallelujah.
Listen, yes, that part. We
Yes.
don't look like the stuff that we
No.
have been through and how we've come
No.
through and how.
Yeah.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Come on now. Go ahead and preach already.
Listen, I'm so excited that you have come to sit and talk with me and just share with our viewing audience, just you. But before we get into our conversation, can you introduce yourself to the viewing audience?
Oh, okay. Well, I am Pastor Voretta Allen-Nesby. I am the executive pastor of the Gathering of Believers Church in Jackson, Mississippi. I am a native of Jackson, Mississippi. And I'm also, I guess I was a transplant. I used to live on the East Coast for about 12 years in the DC, Maryland area. I am a mother of two beautiful adult children. I have two grandbabies as well, two beautiful girls. And basically, I am just a woman that loves God. I am a worshiper. I am a praiser, and I trust God in every aspect of my life. I am the proud wife of Bishop Michael B. Nesby. He is our bishop and senior pastor of the Gathering of Believers Church in Jackson, Mississippi. And so, Pastor Chira, I'm just so glad to be here with you today. And I thank you so much for inviting me on your show.
Wow. That's a lot. I don't have one.
I had to remember, it was like, don't forget your husband. We went straight to the film.
You got the children through the husband. It's the husband. He ain't something to do with it.
That's right. Yeah. They do become a little bit more important than the husband sometimes. You know, you got to focus on the kids.
We got to pull it back. We got to pull it back a little bit.
Exactly. Got to pull it on back again. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, my God. How long have you two been married?
It'll be 23 years this year.
Wow.
You know?
Wow. And are you both Mississippi natives or did you?
No, my husband is originally, and he loves to say this, Atlanta, Georgia. He is a native of Atlanta, Georgia.
Well, how did
But I tell him all the time, we've been in Mississippi so long now. You are a Mississippian, yeah.
So how did you meet? How did you come together?
Okay, is this interview about, I'll say yes, because I can see us going down a rabbit hole when you start asking me about this. We get this question, oh my God, just people would stop and ask us like, how did you meet? Mm-hmm. And in short, the Lord put us together. It was a spiritual connection. We were not attracted to each other. We never dated or anything of the sort. God married us in the spirit first, And yeah, my husband had a dream. I had everything that was in the dream as confirmation. And there were multiple confirmations that followed that dream. And we just began to walk that journey out. He never even proposed to me. Isn't that something?
Are you serious?
Initially, no. We were planning as the Lord was leading us. We never, and one day it just hit me, and I said, you know what? You never proposed to me. And he said, you know what? I didn't.
But that yes caused so much. Like it caused
Woo.
you to matriculate into how has that yes affecting
Well, that yes. Oh, major shifts in both of our lives. Number one, because I was preparing myself to relocate to Atlanta. And in this process, he called me and told me the Lord told him that he had to relocate to Mississippi.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's how, when he told me that, I was like, okay, you're coming into my world. Because at that time, I was serving as the minister of music of our home church, True Line Missionary Baptist Church in Brandon, Mississippi. And so, he was coming to a place where he knew no one
Right.
except me. Yeah. So it started there and it shifted. We got married in 2002. 2005, he was called to pastor the first church. 2006, I preached my first sermon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you went from music ministry to ministry. And
yes.
what was that transition like for you?
That transition was very interesting. So, a lot of things began to happen spiritually after we got married, and so I answered the call. He ordained me. He is my pastor, my bishop. I was licensed. Actually, I preached my first sermon on a Friday night. It was my first women's conference at the church he was pastoring. And the Lord told me my first sermon was going to be preached that Friday night. So I didn't preach, how most are on a Sunday or anything like that. No, it was a church full of people on a Friday night for a women's conference, men and women.
And he said, you're up tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I had did I prepare to preach?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I was prepared to preach, but when the Lord called me at first, I needed to pray about that. And I went to him and I told him what happened. A lot of people, it happens in the water. I was in the shower and heard this voice.
Yes.
And it was like, you will declare and decree my word. I have called you as a prophet to the nations. You will preach my word. And I'm standing there knowing I'm the only one in the house. And I'm looking around like, yeah, and in the shower. And I'm like, who is here? Yeah. Yeah. So from that point, there was a lot of things, I needed to really seek God about. And he began to really shift us individually in our ministries as well as collectively. So we've always been together in ministry for the most part. We're together.
Was it ever a struggle?
For us, no. I think most of the time our struggles are typically internal. And it's that enemy in us, the enemy in me, that says you're not capable, or can you really do this? All the things that the enemy says to you to keep you from really walking in your destiny, in the calling that God has called you to. And so, but because of our connection from the beginning and how God walked us through that, it was just like second nature to obey, to obey God. I just have this innate ability that I need to be obedient to whatever it is that God is calling me to do. So it wasn't.
And there is no or, because what you're going to do
Yeah,
is just
it's
be
not
obedient to whatever he says.
absolutely. And so that shifted me from becoming a minister to an elder. Then he appointed me as the co-pastor of that church. And then when God, I co-pastored with him at that church. And then God moved us on. He called us to launch our own ministry, which is now the Gathering of Believers Church. And so in that, I was appointed as executive pastor. And so I handled the day-to-day operations there. But, throughout it all, I became a co-author of a book. When we were at the previous church, it had been so many things. 2005, I'll Say Yes, we recorded that song. It was a live recording in 2005. And so I think it was, around 2005, because it was right on the cusp of my 7-year tenure of being the minister of music of True Vine and God transitioning us out to the church that he was at. Yeah, it was a lot that happened over the course of a couple of years.
So in all of that, there was so many transitions that you were going through. And so many things that you were seeing and so many things that you were experiencing. And so when God comes and he says this, you were like, yes. And we're going to get to the song, I'll Say Yes. We'll get to that in a second. We're going to go to a commercial. And on the other side, we're going to talk about the music ministry of you and how you got to that place and where it's now taking you. We'll be right back.
In spite of all the things that I've been through, you held my hand and brought me right on through. Even though sometimes I fail you, you seem to understand. And now my life is forever in your hand. In spite of all the things that I've been through, you held my hand and brought me right on through. Oh, even though sometimes I fail you, you seem to understand. And now my life is forever in your hands. I'll say yes, Lord. It's to your will and to your way. Still yes, Lord. By faith I'll trust you every day. My soul bow down before you.
We're back. Are you ready for the rest of the conversation with this amazing woman of God? Come on, let's go back into the conversation with Pastor Voretta Allen-Nesby. Yes, I'm so excited because You gave
Yeah.
so much insight and inspiration to so many by your story. And I know you probably said your story to many before, but it's the first time I've heard it. And how many times has it been that your story has been the inspiration for someone to continue to go? How many times have you heard that?
Oh, I can't count how many times. I can't count how many times I myself, because each time I may come to the cusp, through ministry, there are times where you say, I'm not sure if I can do this anymore, or if you really want to do that anymore. And God reminds me, I put you here. I did this.
Right.
And so it gets me in alignment really quickly, because one thing I don't want to do is disappoint my father. And so, yeah, I just, and then I don't want to suffer the consequences that may come along with that either. So,
That part. So how has in all of this, in all of your story and everything that has occurred, how has your music and your ministry in music got you through the different things that you have come through?
whoa, how did it get me through? Let's see. Well, I started where I really began to, let me go back, because I've been singing pretty much since I was coming out of the womb, I guess they say. I think I remember as far back as 5 or 6, singing with the gospel choir with my parents, leading a solo with the gospel choir, traveling with them and things of that nature. And my parents also put us in piano lessons. So I played for the youth choir. I went from there to when I left, I attended Jackson State University. And then I transferred from Jackson State University to Howard University. So that's how I end up in DC. And during my time there on the East Coast, I joined Greater Mount Calvary Holy Church, Bishop Alfred and co-pastor Susie Owens. So I was under their ministry, for many years, and served, on the praise team, dream missionary, all the things involved, in ministry. Then when God saw fit to bring me back to Mississippi, he sent me back to my home church, True Vine. And so I was like, okay, Lord, that's quite different than Greater Mount Calvary. We talking about a Baptist church versus a Pentecostal. I had the Pentecostal roots then by then. And so, but I eventually took the position as the minister of music. I was the first female minister of music. Well, actually the first minister of music, period, in that area.
Wow.
They didn't know anything about. So True Vine set the trend for, many things such as minister music. We had the first mime, dance, and all of that. So I worked with the arts there. And then the Lord placed in my spirit for our choir to do a live recording. And that live recording took place in 2005, in which prior to that, I want to go back to when my husband and I, after we got married, I don't remember exactly what year it was, but I'll say Yes was penned in the dark. And so God gave me the verses, gave me the words of the song in the dark, woke me up about 3 a.m. maybe. And on my nightstand, I was from, going into ministry, I always kept a pad and a pen near me at all times, because God would download things to me constantly. And so I would have a pen and, something to write on. So my cousin gave me a lighted pen. And interestingly enough, I had it on the nightstand with a pad. And when he woke me up that night, I picked that pen up and I wrote the lyrics in the dark. So this song he gave me back 2005. The choir did the live recording, and that was one of the songs, on that recording. And so after that, we left to the church my husband first pastored. I did not sing for the first couple of years. The Lord told me to sit and to pray. And that's what I did. Then the deacons came to me and asked me, would I please work with the music ministry?
Right.
So, that put me back out there as far as the minister of music, and I did that. And now I lead praise and worship, of course, each Sunday with the gathering. There are other things that have been really influential, musically for me. I also have an illustrative sermon that I preached in Bishop's stead. He was out of town at the previous church before the gathering. And so this illustrative sermon was about 2000, maybe 2013, 14, somewhere around there. 2016, the Lord told me to move that and do it again, but do it in an auditorium. He said not to, have it in a church, do it in an auditorium. And so from 2016 to last year, the Lord told me to do it again in Baton Rouge. My husband and I are members of Living Faith Christian Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, under the leadership of Bishop Raymond W. Johnson. And so in the preparation of the illustrative sermon, God says, I'll say yes for the altar call. So think about, I was trying to paint a timeline, like this story, like how are we getting here?
Yeah.
And so, he said, I want that song sung for the altar call. And I'm like, okay. So then my husband has this bright idea. We need to go ahead, get this done, go ahead, relaunch the song as a single, and ta-da, here we are.
Here we are.
So here we are. Yep. It's been a whole journey. A whole journey.
Yes.
Yes.
And so even through, my God, that is amazing. That is, it's, well, let me back up real quick, because I understand the going back to your home church after you coming from a Pentecostal church. It's like, okay, God, what are we doing? What are we saying? Because I don't understand. Been there, because the Lord took me to an apostolic church. I was there for 17 years. And then the Lord said, go back and help your father at the church where you grew up, where I'm now the senior pastor. But and so I understand. I understand when God says go back. Yes, because it's so much. And so the transition of where we are and what we bring back to the ministries that we grew up in order to help them to get to the next level and not stay where they were. We are the,
But see, I was never a minister of music in DC. I had never done that before.
No.
And so when my pastor came to me, I was like, he said, I just believe God is saying, this is what you're supposed to do. And I had been praying.
Because you left and experienced something else. Because had you not left, you would have never had that experience in order to bring back, in order to help the ministry to grow.
Exactly. And that's exactly where he was with the ministry. He told me, he said, and I thank God for Pastor Charles Randall. He has planted so many seeds in my husband and I, and given us that opportunity, not really knowing, but he said, God said it was time for the church to shift. And they had 5 choirs, and he gave me his vision. I said, well, let's sit down and let's talk about, what is God saying to you? What is your vision for this? They had 5 choirs, and he said in his vision, there was only one choir, and the children. So I'm like, okay, now mind you, let me tell you this. True Vine is all family. Must I say more?
Nope. Not another word.
So I'm coming back to my family. You know, I have a whole different vibe. Just
Right.
I'm literally like East Coast, a different accent. You know, how I handle people is different. My
Yeah.
conversation, everything is different. But everyone was excited in the beginning. They were really excited in the beginning. You know, you're back and you did this, but see, they didn't understand what it took for me
That's
to
right.
get to it. It took discipline. It took, you know, time. It took a lot of effort. It took a lot of praying, you know, it took a lot of practice.
Yeah.
And so I was about to bring something to them that they had not experienced.
Ready? Yeah. Yeah.
You're absolutely
Are you
right.
ready to say yes to this transition that God is doing? Because it's a whole transition and transformation
Exactly.
that God
Yes.
is doing. And that
Yes.
yes is different. That's a
Yeah,
different kind of
absolutely.
yes.
It is
Oh
a
my
different
God,
kind of yes.
today.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That's a
And I
different
went
kind
through
of yes.
ridicule, you know. They didn't like me too well, you know. It was okay. It
Mhm.
was quite all right. And I stood firm, but I told our pastor, I said, okay, you want me to do this because I know my folks, right? So you need to share your vision
Right.
so
Right.
they can hear that coming from you. And then from that point, then
Mhm.
I can take it on from there because
Right.
I'm your mouthpiece, you know.
Right. Right.
And to be honest with you, and even though it was a struggle sometime, believe it or not, the church grew. People were coming for the music.
Yep.
Mhm.
And that's
They
what
were coming
happened.
for the music. Yeah,
That's what
they were
happened.
coming in. They wanted to hear the choir sing, and he was awesome pastor, great word every week.
Mhm.
But the people, we just started noticing how it was just like standing room only.
Mhm. Because you said
So,
yes. Because
amen. I did
yes.
pray. I went to the altar one Sunday, and I was asking God what was my purpose, not knowing. Yeah, not knowing because I came back under tumultuous, it was in a tumultuous experience that happened to me and brought me back home.
Right.
So, now I'm trying to find like, who is Voretta? Who are you?
Mm.
Uh, what God, what do you have for me at this point? You know? And so, yeah, when you start asking the Lord, He will show
I'm
you.
telling you. He's
But
telling
are
you.
you willing to go? Are you willing to go and say yes?
Yes. Are you willing to say yes? So
Mhm,
my last question to you, you gonna get me.
mhm.
I know you are.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
You're gonna get me. I already know. I already know. I already know. But the question that I'm going to pose to you is, what would you say to someone who is struggling in their yes?
Let go and let God. The struggle comes from us going against the grain
Mm.
because in the spirit, it's easy. Things are easy. And the Bible says, cast your care upon him, for he careth for you. Any concern that we may have, any uncertainties that we may have, he said, give them to him. But the problem is our flesh, this right here,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
because our flesh want to do it our way and not God's way. And so I would tell anyone who is struggling, number one, through your prayer, you have to spend time in communion with God to get an understanding, and letting him direct you. One of my favorite scriptures is trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not to your own understanding. Because every time I tried to lean to my understanding, I was stressed. I was I'm telling you, I was frantic. I would become
Yeah.
anxious. Even could feel the spirit of depression starting to come over me, something that I had gotten over, I had overcome. And as long as I was fighting against what God was saying, these things would show up.
Right.
And so I would tell anyone who's struggling, number one, you need to seek God, and really hearing him with your spirit, with your whole heart, not with your head, not head knowledge, but with heart knowledge.
That's it.
Hear him with your spirit and know that God's got you. He one of the things I learned from Pastor Randall, and I take this everywhere I go, where God has given you vision, he's already made provision. So just walk the vision. So you got to do whatever it is that God has called you to do. It doesn't mean he's going to stop knocking. And it doesn't mean that he's not going to stop giving you various assignments to do, because he's trying to push us to greatness. What that greatness look like, we don't really know what that looked like. Only God knows what that looks like. And I'm not looking to the world for greatness either. I just want God to be pleased with whatever he's given me. And when I leave this earth, I want to die empty.
Yes. Yes.
You want to die empty. You want to leave a legacy, so somebody can look back and say, man, I remember when Voretta was going through these struggles and how she overcame.
Yeah.
She overcame, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of her testimony. Coming through, coming out of an abusive situation, having to relocate, and you're basically starting over, but having a family there to support you. But look where God has brought me from. I don't look like what I've been through. So that gives me that unction to say yes to the Lord, because only I know, like the song say, you don't know my story.
Yes.
You don't know my story and the things that I've been through. You can't feel my pain and what I had to go through to get here.
Yeah.
Come on. You'll never understand.
Never understand.
So don't try to figure it out, because my worship is for real.
Yes. And I love the fact that the title is not I'll say yes. It's I'll still say yes.
I'll say yes, Lord.
That's what I'll do. Listen, what's coming up for you, and how can the people get in touch with you?
What's coming up for me? What's coming up for me? We are actually actively working on my second single. I will not say what the name of it is. We are currently working on the second single. We are still pushing I'll Say Yes, Lord. You can get it on all digital platforms. You can also go to van.music and you can get it there. And what's coming up? The illustrative sermon that Van Ministries, the sermonic production that Van Ministries produced in February of 2024. We're in a process of getting the DVD ready, and we're going to have a promotional video coming soon regarding that. And we're also networking with some other pastors in other states as well. It's a possibility you may see it here in Mississippi, along with hearing I'll Say Yes and some other little surprises that we have going on.
Well, listen, I need a surprise to be up here in Pennsylvania. I need a surprise in Pennsylvania.
Well, we have to chat about that. I will come. We'll come to this. No problem at all. Yeah,
we got to do it. We got to do it. Listen, Pastor V, thank you so much.
No, thank you.
For your encouragement, for your inspiration, for your words, because I know that this is going to be a blessing to so many that hear what you have to say because
Oh, wow.
others have heard your voice, but now there are others that are going to hear your voice because you
Oh,
said yes to sitting down and talking to me. I am so excited. Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
so much. I
You got a
appreciate
fan.
you.
You got a fan in me.
Ah, I'm gonna sing you so loud about that. We're gonna make it happen. I'm
Yes.
headed to Johannesburg in March, but when I come back from Africa, South Africa, then we'll have to talk about
I'm
when I
sorry,
can
what?
get there.
You're what?
I'll be in Johannesburg, South Africa in March.
Doing the
Yeah. I am actually the facilitator and coordinating the praise team for Kingdom Culture, which one of our local, well, I'll be traveling along with our local pastor. Well, he's the bishop, Tyron Hanks, and his wife's Lady Jennifer. And so I'll be traveling there to Johannesburg with them and working with the praise team there for the service. I think I am supposed to sing. I'm supposed to sing. I'll say yes there. I don't know. Whatever he wants me to do, I'll be preaching while I'm there. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. God is really opening up.
doors.
Oh yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
you listen, you got to make sure that while you're there, I get to see you while you're there because I need to be there with you. I need to be there with you.
You need to come on and go. Yes,
Yes.
I'm gonna try to kind of vlog it.
Okay.
While I'm gone. I'm not sure. Bishop will not be traveling with me. Actually, he'll be in Trinidad at the same time. So this will be the first time in our marriage that we will be in two separate countries at the same time. Yes.
Listen, that's called world ministry. That's what that's called. That's called world ministry. Yes, I am excited. Listen,
Yes, please pray for me.
we got to stay right here. We're gonna stay right here.
We are. We are. I got your number now. How about that?
Yeah, I know, right? Thank you for sitting
Yes,
down and
ma'am.
talking with me. Listen, this has
Yes.
been such a blessing. You have no idea what you
You
did
are
for me in this conversation. Thank you.
God.
Thank you for being you and for being authentic and just
Yes,
sharing who
ma'am.
you are.
I
What
know
else?
no other way to be, but just be myself. We're gonna laugh, we're gonna cry, we're gonna praise God, we're gonna do all that.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we're gonna keep moving. And we're gonna keep
And we're
moving.
gonna keep it moving. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Yes,
you
ma'am.
so much. Listen, I
Thank
need all
you.
of you to go to wherever you buy your music, and I need you to get I Say Yes by Pastor Voretta Allen-Nesby. You got to get it. Listen, I'm telling you, I have heard it, I have listened to it, I have downloaded it. It will bless your entire life. You have got to get it because, as you heard, she is a blessing to so many. So allow her to bless you with what God gave her and her yes for you to say yes. I'm Pastor Chira. This is the Pastor Chira Show, and I'll see you next week. God bless.